This is Philip H. Anselmo, and you are listening to If I Rule the World podcast.
If I rule the world, I love 'em, baby.
All right, If I Rule the World podcast welcomes Daryl, DMC McDaniels. How are you, brother?
I'm good. What's happening? Thank you for having me here today.
Thanks for coming out to Selden. Is this your first time in Selden?
Yes. What's near here that I would know?
Suffolk Community College. That you would know?
Suffolk Community College. Okay. And what town?
Well, there's the Selden campus. There's the Brentwood campus.
Brentwood. So we're close to Brentwood.
15 minutes.
Yeah, somewhat.
A little south of here.
CI too, like as far as
Right.
trying to think of like the other hip hop
MC,
groups.
yeah.
Like-
Wyandanch.
Oh, Wyandanch. I
Rockin.
got family out there.
Yeah, Rockin.
Yeah, okay.
I live
So
very close to Wyandanch.
Okay, yeah, Wyandanch. So I used to go out there every summer.
Wow.
I got my family out there, Aunt Marilyn and Heath. My cousin Heath, he does big things out there with the community and stuff.
Nice. But
And
it's nice.
Brentwood is EPMD.
EPMD,
Yep.
what, De La Soul, Amityville.
Yeah, De La.
Roosevelt
yeah.
is Public Enemy.
PE. Yeah.
Yep.
Right here,
Played
we
with
got.
Ray Baldwin.
Actually, he came with a gift for us.
Yeah, Chuck D's on there.
Chuck D. First of all, let me just say Miles Kennedy.
Yeah, one of
that's
the greatest
wild.
voices in rock and roll and music in general. Yeah.
Yeah, so he plays.
That song was produced by John Moyer from Disturbed with me and
Okay.
Miles on it.
So Miles basically plays in a band with Slash.
Right.
So he's Slash's singer, and when they
And Alter Bridge. I
Alter
think.
Bridge
Yeah.
too with Tremonti.
Yep.
So,
Big shout out to them.
Anytime Slash plays like Guns N' Roses songs, like when he does the solo stuff with Miles and the Co-Conspirators, I think they're called.
Right.
Man, Miles Kennedy is one of the best vocalists
Ever.
He's
in
bananas.
music. For real, yeah.
And then Rome from what? Sublime?
Sublime, yeah,
Cool.
the new lead singer, Sublime.
And then you got Chuck D, which brought me to what we were talking about.
I was just in Roosevelt the other day. We did a My Brother's Keeper event at Roosevelt High School where he went there, Eddie Murphy, all those guys went
Oh,
to.
wow.
Yeah, so
and
it was,
Howard Stern.
And Howard
Howard
Stern. I
Stern.
didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Big
yeah.
shout out to Howard.
Yeah, for real, because he was he
Yeah.
always brings up like like whenever he had on like Charlie Murphy, and they would
Yeah.
talk about like the neighborhood and
Oh,
stuff.
that's great. Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know that. Right on. Howard Stern. And the record that I'm on with Chuck is produced by a band called Slaves on Dope.
which
out
have been
of
around for a while.
Montreal, yeah.
Is
They
that
were
the
one
song at the
sound.
end of your audiobook?
Oh no! The audiobook song is a song that was produced by Rob Duke's band, Generation Kill. He was the third lead singer of Exodus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rob Dukes.
Yeah,
So what happened to him was the second lead singer came back and they fired him.
Aha.
So the day he got fired, he actually met me.
Okay.
And we started working. He said it was a bad and good day for him. And
Where
everything.
was how did you just like what?
We was at I played with Pop Evil
Right.
at Rock on the Range. So I was waiting backstage to go on with Pop Evil to do my little guest appearance with Pop Evil. And Rob Dukes we say, hey, DMC, what's up, man? Love your stuff. I got something to give you. And I was like, okay, cool. So when we were sitting backstage at the where the food and stuff is in the VIP area and stuff like that, I got called to do an interview, and he got called to go on stage or something like that, and we missed each other. But the very next day, we was on the first flights out. So I saw him sitting in the airport. He said, "Yo, I don't believe this. This it was meant for me to give you this." So he gave me a copy of his current album that he had out at the time with Generation Kill, and I fell in love with a record on there called Carney Love. And it was just like, yo, we should do something together. He was like, I'm going to hold you to that.
Yeah.
So
And
we just started recording songs together. It was like, a simple thing.
And he did, and it's funny. So you take like the singer of Exodus, and then also we were listening to like the Joss the podcast, and then Alex Skolnick from Testament, man.
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
like geeking hard because of just like like everyone, we all grew up with Run-DMC.
Right.
So even like someone who is in a thrash metal band, like that dude, like Alex Skolnick is bananas.
Right. Yeah.
His guitar
Yeah.
playing, I'm a guitar player. His
Right.
guitar playing is crazy.
Right.
So it's funny to see like people from Testament and Exodus, like the heaviest of the heavy.
Yeah, I mean, that's, considering what our podcast is and having you here, there's a myriad of ways we could start this. But
Right.
I wanted to ask you about every time I see you, you have an AC/DC shirt on, you have a hard rock or metal shirt. People might not know about your interest in hard rock and heavier music. Where did that all come from, and where did that start?
1970s radio.
Okay.
In New York City. There was a station called 77 WABC.
Okay.
And the guy, he passed away a couple of months ago. Rest in peace. Dan Ingram was the DJ on the station. And when I was little, I used to always remember hearing da-na-na for years. And just recently, I found out that that wasn't a horn stab. It wasn't.
Okay.
It was a group of singers going, Dan Ingram.
Oh,
But
shit.
when I was a little kid, this station would always be on. And what was good about that station was I was never into soul music. Aretha Franklin, Al Green, Marvin Gaye, even the Jackson 5. Because I'm a kid.
Okay.
I was in the comic books. And Godzilla, and the Boris Karloff, and Lon Chaney Jr., Wolfman. You know, that's
Famous
me. I'm
monsters.
his kid. So as a kid, I didn't have no music. I mean, the Jackson 5 was hugely popular when I was in elementary school.
Yeah.
Ride On Magazine, and then the other one was Tiger Beat with the Osmonds. You know, that whole thing.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a music
Okay.
until I started listening to this station, and they played James Brown, Sly and the Family Stone, Jackson 5. But they also played the Beatles and the Stones and Joni Mitchell and Harry Chapin and Jim Croce and Bob Dylan and something like that. And Crosby, Stills, Young and Nash and Neil Young and all of that stuff in the 70s. And there was just something cooler about the sound of the guitars.
Okay.
And the drums were heavier. So soul music, was let's get it on and all
And everything
of that
you mentioned
stuff.
is really lyrical, which is probably different.
People
than,
say that's why he was attracted to it. And the other thing, it was stories. It was storytelling.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And me being a kid in the comic books and being a straight A. I went to Catholic school my whole life.
I was there till the 5th grade. Shout out.
Yeah, I went my whole life at Catholic school. And I was a good student. So a lot of the rock and the folk rock, if I'm playing with my toys and they're singing about politics and social issues. John Fogerty's Fortunate Son.
Totally.
Stuff like that. So I can relate to that. I can relate to Al Green and Aretha Frank. Girls? Nobody cares about girls.
Right.
Comic books, Godzilla, and homework and skateboards and stuff like that. So that being said, there was just something about the power and sound of rock that was cooler than R&B. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why I became the king of rock years later when I started recording. Now, that being said, I didn't know there was a connection with I'm listening to all these rock songs. Harry Chapin, Led Zeppelin, Rush, like all of that. When hip hop came over the bridge in I think it was probably like 73, but I didn't pay attention to it until like 78.
Right.
So when hip hop comes into the neighborhood, 78, and then Rapper's Delight drops. So now everybody in my neighborhood, all the kids and the park parties, the block parties, the DJs, hip hop was in the parks. We was doing this thing for free. Yeah. Well, they were doing this thing for free. And Rapper's Delight comes out. So everybody's getting into Rapper's Delight. The only thing I liked about Rapper's Delight was Big Bang Hank's rhyme.
Okay.
Why? Because he talked about Superman.
Oh, yeah.
So I can remember he's a man, he's a fairy with the S on his chest. Can he fly through the morning light? I was somebody rhymed about superheroes. So that's the only reason why that I could relate to that record. Wow, they talking about Superman and superheroes. So once Rapper's Delight dropped, it was like an epidemic. Hip hop was everywhere now. Prior to Rapper's Delight drop, it was just in the block parties in the parks. I didn't even know it was a whole scene in the Bronx and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So Rapper's Delight dropped. So me not wanting to be left out, the only reason I learned Rapper's Delight from start to finish was I didn't want to be the only kid that didn't know it.
Yeah.
So I listened to it 3 times. Now I know Rapper's Delight. So that created a problem. Because now everybody knows, D knows Rapper's Delight from start to end. So my job in the neighborhood became, when it wasn't on the radio or anybody's boombox, to sing Rapper's Delight. So that was my introduction into hip-hop. That was 8th grade. But when I got to 9th grade, I went to a all-boys Catholic high school called Rice High School, 124th Street in Lenox in Harlem. So when I got to Rice High School in 9th grade, you know, Grandmaster Flash was on record, Africa Bambaataa Zulu Nation was on record, Sugar Hill was on record, Curtis Blow was on record, all of the early hip-hop songs prior to Run-DMC. But when I got to 9th grade, the kids in school, this is particularly one guy named Terrence Washington, he had all the live performances of Flash, Curtis Blow, Africa Bambaataa and the Zulu Nation before rap records was made. So on those tapes, I started hearing a lot of the rock songs that was playing on the radio that I was listening to on 77 WABC. And it let me know that, whoa, I don't have to rhyme over disco. I don't have to rhyme over R&B. I don't have to rhyme over, I can rhyme over the hard rock songs. So that was the thing that kind of 70s rock radio prepared me to become the king of rock. And the reason why I was attracted to rock music basically is they sung about, Marvin Gaye did Let's Get It On, What's Going On. James Brown did, socially conscious records. But the thing about the rock and the folk singers were whether it was the Vietnam War, whether they were for or against it, whether it was women's rights, social issues, civil rights, and politics, in addition to being huge, famous celebrities, they sung about the issues that related to the audience first, and that was mind-blowing to me.
You really are the king of rock.
That was like mind-blowing to me. That when Neil Young did 10 Soldiers and Nixon's Coming, when he did Ohio, you know what I'm saying? I was like, wow. And Bob Dylan and Fogerty and stuff like John Lennon. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Sleeping naked in a bed to protest. I was like, whoa, these rock dudes got some balls.
And that energy of the big beat and all of that. We talk about on the podcast why hip hop back then was a little different because it took from a different form of music and added it in. Maybe that's what Jane's Addiction did. Take from other forms or Korn. Exactly. Or, you hear something and you bring it through your interpretation. Maybe some of rock or hip hop, you grow up on it, maybe it feels watered down. Not to put down anybody's music, but, when it's just crazy and that energy, especially Sucker MCs, King of Rock and all of that. Right. We grew up, in the punk and hardcore scene in the 80s and 90s, everybody loved that stuff because it just was a similar
We can relate.
Energy.
No, it's funny that you say
everybody
that.
Loved Run-DMC.
The reason why is, especially with punk, the punk rockers got it. And those musicians, people would always tell us when we played New York City, Danceteria, Mars, and The World, and all those clubs, Peppermint Lounge, downtown. Yo, Joey and them was here again. Lou Reed and them was here again. People forget Blondie made a rap song. That's right. Talking about a DJ, so we were simultaneously doing. Punk was already blowing on the forefront. And on this is the EP of the new record that I got coming. But on the album, I also got Tim Armstrong from Rancid.
Oh,
so
nice.
Tim said punk was already like this to the world. Fuck the world. Just said we're going to address, we're going to talk about, we're going to address the issues, we're going to do what politics and religion can't. Here comes this thing called hip-hop. And Tim said they saw hip-hop come in and heard what we was doing. Wow. He said it validated them to put 2 fingers up to the world. Yeah. It's the same energy, same feelings, but different expressions. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Same energy, same, to make it, the punk and the rock kid want the AC/DC shirt from 77.
Yeah.
Mine's got to be brand new, out the bag, out the plastic. You know what I'm saying? The punk kid, his boots got to be his uncle's boots from Woodstock.
Right.
You know, so I got to have brand new Timberlands on. Their jeans, same thing. You know, that's why Run-DMC and the Beasties worked. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It was these white Jewish punk rocker kids who had the same energy as these black hip hopper kids from Queens. You know what I'm saying? So there was no way in the world that the world thought it wasn't. The world thought it wasn't going to work. There was like, there's no way Run-DMC and the Beasties going to tour these black kids and these white kids.
Right.
But it's all the same energy. Even when we did the early shows, when the Beasties was opening on the Raising Hell tour,
Yeah.
Beasties was opening, Houdini would go second, LL would go third, and then we go. The first couple of shows, and I'm talking about we in the Black South, Alabama, Georgia, and the Beasties are opening. So those first shows, we didn't go out and watch them. We would sit in the dressing room. All right, y'all, have a good show. But we never heard boo. We heard, because real recognized real. The Beasties wasn't white rappers trying to be black MCs or black rappers. They were rapping, but they were doing it. They didn't talk about Adidas and Old English and Kangos. They talked about Brass Monkey. Mike D took the actual emblem off of VW, threw it on a plastic chain and looked at us and said, "What?" And we was like, "Yo, we love that." Yeah. So it was a real expression. Like I said, it was an energy that was all similar. It was just different presentations.
Especially for like them, they started off as a punk band.
Exactly.
Right? They started off
people
as a punk
don't know
band.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
They were a punk band.
And I like that they went back later on and released some of those records.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that energy was there. And did you guys like Run-DMC always get love like anywhere else? Like in the South? Basically,
everywhere.
Once you leave,
It was crazy for us. Everybody fell in love. Until all of these other communities and all these cities found their own identity.
Sure.
They all wanted to be Run-DMC.
Yeah.
They thought New York, you know what I'm saying? It was, I'm talking about, when we went to L.A., we literally would get to L.A., get off the planes, go rent cars, and we would drive to the hood.
Yeah.
Compton and all that. And the Crips and Bloods for that hour that Run-DMC was in their neighborhood buying 40 ounces and fried chicken at their local, there was a chicken restaurant out there in L.A. called Pioneer Chicken. It was everywhere. It's not there no more. First thing we would do is go to the hood and get fried chicken. And we go down to the swap meet. Yeah. All of those places Dre and them talk about. And the gang, they would just stop. Yo, man, Running them is here. There was just something about, even Suge Knight said, yo, the most powerful thing that he saw about us coming from New York was, LL Run we were together. Yeah. We brought something that just felt good to them. So in the beginning, look, it was crazy. We used to go to every city that we used to go to, and we would just be in certain, whether it was radio, whether it was after party, and it was always be that one guy that would claim he's from Hollis until people, like, say you from Tennessee. Cousin Run-DMC, you from Hollis. And then your boys got check, motherfucker, you ain't from Hollis. You right here from Nashville with us. But everybody wanted to be us. And the beautiful thing about that was when me, Run, and Jay, we didn't want y'all to see the way hip hop is now. You see celebrity. You know what I'm saying? You see fame and fortune and bodyguards and all of this stuff. That's actually a disconnect. That's why the music went down. That's why this music sucks nowadays. Everybody's into it, but the reason why it sucks, it's no togetherness no more. Okay. When you saw me running Jay, or you saw LL, or you saw Houdini, or you saw Daryl, you saw yourselves. Right. Because prior to Run-DMC coming along, and Chuck D talked about this, hip-hop was the same way that it is now. Everybody was doing the same thing. Why? Because the message was hugely successful.
Okay. Yeah.
When the message came out, hip-hop used to, prior to hip-hop, Curtis Blow had the breaks. These are the breaks. And you had Rappers Delight. Yeah. And then you had, what else you had? Curtis Blow even did. I mean, it got lost in the sauce because of the greatness of our record that we didn't think was that great. But Curtis Blow did a Christmas song called Christmas Rapping. Okay. Curtis Blow. Yeah. The oh, boom, boom, boom. They took another one, Bites the Dust Beat, and Curtis Blow did a Christmas song that nobody knows about because ours is so dope.
Now they know.
Don't you give me all that jive about things you wrote before I was alive, because this ain't 1823, ain't even 1970. Now I'm the guy named Curtis Blow. When Christmas is one thing I know, so every year, just about this time, I celebrate it with a rhyme. Then he goes into this the record is 8 minutes long. And it was a huge hit. It was a huge hit in the streets. It was a huge hit in hip hop. It's one of the most sampled hip hop beats ever. But prior to Run-DMC coming along, hip hop was considered black ghetto music.
Yeah.
It's this new black music coming out of the ghetto. And because of the success of the message, everything was a message record. It was message 1, message 2. If you go back to prior to Sucker MCs dropping, it was life in the ghetto, but we gonna make it, everything. So me coming from Queens, you know what I'm saying? I'm seeing, I'm a straight A student in Catholic school, but if I walk up to the corner, I see everything that's on 42nd Street. But in the blocks that me, Run, and Jay lived, it was hardworking parents, single parents. People were good.
Yeah.
It was a different time. Your mother was my mother. It wasn't none of that, Daryl. I'm not. Your mother, if my mother saw you do something she could whip your ass.
Yeah.
And she could get you in trouble. So it was a whole different, it was a time to get everything. So prior to Run-DMC coming along, everything was message records. Because they was like, whoa, this message record is sell. So it was Life in the Ghetto, Growing Together, message 1, message 2. Then Africa Bambaataa and them put out Planet Rock. The record Planet Rock also changed stuff aesthetically.
Especially from the production standpoint.
Yeah, with Arthur Baker and the
Crazy.
craft work, electronic dent, club music, and this and that. But if you go back and listen to Planet Rock, everybody duplicated it. Everybody play at your own risk. Remember all these records started coming out? All the club did this. Run-DMC, what we did when we came along, we said we're going to do what we were doing when we was 12 and 13 in the streets of New York. What's that? Put the beat on, boom, tet, 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 and just talk about who we are. So by us doing that, I don't care if you was a white kid in Beverly Hills, I don't care if you was out here in Syosset, me and Run was saying stuff that you did too, like it was different. Because, I couldn't relate to broken glass everywhere. I went to Catholic school. My father drove an electric 220. I had 2 parents in the house. My father drove an electric 225, which was a poor man's Cadillac. Remember the Buick? My father mowed the lawn. We didn't have, the Bronx was burning with some other stuff. It was more that we could relate to the struggles that we saw our parents going through. But us as kids growing up in Queens, unless you were in a group home, unless your mother and father left your ass and it's really your 5 brothers living in there, prior to that, hip-hop was just considered just black ghetto music of death and despair and destruction. But Planet Rock actually said, okay, here's the message. It's F up in this neighborhood. Planet Rock was a record of vision. We know we can build, we can create a place called Planet Rock if we stop killing each other, if we stop selling the drugs. Kids don't pay attention to the early hip-hop until I say, don't you know the Zulu Nation was the Black Skulls, the biggest street gang in New York. Yeah. So now all the tough ones want to pay attention. I said they didn't make records about being the toughest guys in there. They made records about not being it. Yeah. And that was the whole genesis. So Run-DMC, we came along. You would say, oh, man, I know a guy that's quiet like that guy Daryl. Oh, I know a guy that runs his mouth like this guy running with all this ego. And then you also know, man, Jay's like my cool uncle or something. So we were more relatable globally than the thug.
And you guys
I was going to say, I think the parallel, once again, we could talk about punk rock. Yeah. Like you take a band like the Ramones. The Ramones took everything that was bloated about 70s music and they did just basically these chords. They just gave it the essence, right? So they did like Rockaway Beach and all the songs were like 2 minutes long.
Too.
Yeah, Forest Hills. Yeah. So I feel like the earlier like Run-DMC records were, like you said, it was just like that beat and the rhymes and like, so relatable.
We were kind of like a punk band.
Yeah, man. For real.
Outside of hip hop, because man, hip hop was doing that rap as a light thing. So the hip hop, the hip. Here comes a guy, I'm DMC, in a place to be. I go to St. John's. I know what the hell? Chicken and collard green. You know what I'm saying? Whoa, that was like, whoa. And we broke it down raw. We took away the music.
Yeah, very much so, especially on those first few records.
Yeah, it's like that. Even though it was a socially conscious record, it was just boom, dad, boom, dad, boom, dad, boom, like we came with some other thing. Like,
and I think like for Raising Hell, right? So when that record came, I noticed like the production value definitely, like maybe it was just technology, or maybe 86 was just wildin' with music. Because I think that was Licensed to Ill, and then Raising Hell, like those, like you hear the first 3 songs on that record, and the production is crazy. Like,
that was Rick Rubin helping us out.
Okay,
who wanted to make records.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, and I guess maybe like but also I'm sure technology was still growing at that time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the early records was just the DMX drum machine.
Yeah,
and the we had the DMX drum machine, keyboard, and what else would we use up in it? DMX drum machine, keyboard, and the Roland. The Lindrum, all of that. By the time we got to Raising Hell, we had all this other stuff, and it was actually Rick Rubin. We had designed Raising Hell. So what happened with Raising Hell was this. We started working, and the first 2 albums was recorded at Green Street Recording Studio on Green Street in right off of Houston, in that area. Raising Hell, we started recording at a place called Chungking House of Metal.
I remember Chungking.
So this is the Chungking House of Metal, where all the punk and all the metal bands were recording. It was nothing like a hip-hop studio. Oh, wow.
I love metal.
You love metal. So we had Chungking House of Metal, where Slayer, Anthrax, all the early bands, Beasties, all the punk bands, all the bands we're recording this. So we get in there. We in there. Engineer, big shout out to Steve. He passed away a couple of years ago. So one day we're working in there, and Rick Rubin pokes his head in. Hey guys, what's happening? This and that. My name's Rick Rubin and stuff. I'm gonna make a rap record too. Talking about making It's Yours, which was the first record on Def Jam. Because Rick Rubin at the time was hanging out with Jazzy J from Band by the Zoom. So make a long story, Rick Rubin pokes his head in, and Jay, Russell, they open. Rick and Russell start kicking it, boom, boom, planning to build Def Jam later on. So Rick was just coming into the session. So, for instance, when we was doing Mary Mary and Tricky, we were sampling. Rick says, no, man, give me a guitar. I'll play the riff over live. It'll make the record feel better.
Yeah.
Simple stuff like that. So that's what Rick didn't tell us what to do. And Run really wants to make that known.
Yeah. Okay.
We created all this. Rick just came in and told us how to make it sound better. So Walk This Way originally was Rick's job. What are y'all doing today? Help us find a way to make it better. That's why you notice the sound. Even when mixing, if we just sample it, you tweak it, put it out as it is. But if you're using a guitar, you got to sit there and play with the levels and stuff like that. So Walk This Way originally was we're going to sample number 4 on the album with the Toys.
Yeah.
We didn't even know it was Aerosmith or Walk This Way. The song that goes, we're going to sample it. We're going to loop it. And then me and Run is going to rhyme over it and talk about how good we are. That was the whole mission. Jay looped it. You don't hear the song. It goes back to so it's drums, guitar for 3 minutes. And I remember my rhyme. My rhyme was supposed to go, I'm DMC in the place to be. Because we came out in 83. It's 86 now. I've been rapping on a mic since 83. I'm the best MC in history, and there will never be an MC better than me. That's why they call me the King. And then Run was go, I'm DJ Run, and I'm number 1 here to get it done and have some fun. So we in there getting ready to record this record. Rick Rubin comes in. Hey guys, what are you doing? If you ever notice Rick Rubin when he talks, he moves his head like this. Next time I see him,
next time he's
he
in
does
Selden,
this. He always moves his head up and down when he talks. What are you doing? We're going to make this record. And then Rick goes, oh, y'all should do that record over. So we're thinking from a limited hip-hop perspective. What do you think we're going to do? We're going to sample it. We're going to do it. Rick says, no, you should do this record over the way the band originally did it. Now, me and Run had never heard Jay wouldn't let it go that far because as soon as the voice was getting ready to come on, back to the front. So Rick had a pad like that, but a yellow one.
Yeah.
He takes the record off the turntable. Here, D. He gives us a yellow. They still exist. Those yellow notepad things. Yeah. It says, go in the basement, go down in D's basement, put the needle on the record, let it play, and write out the lyrics. Because me and Ren had never heard the lyrics. Mm-hmm. So at first, me and Ren was like, nah, man, y'all taking this rock rap thing too far. Why? We had made Rockbox already. Rockbox was the first rap video on MTV, and it was killing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That kind of opened us. That's what kind of opened up to make the metal kids like us. You know, it was sloppy, but it was dope. They knew where it was coming from. Then in '85, we did an album self-titled King of Rock.
Right.
And everybody hated us. The black people hated us. R&B radio, black culture hated us.
King of Rock?
They hated the King of Rock, but all of the white kids and all the rock, yes, Spin magazine and all that gave us an endorsement.
It was a gateway to a lot of people that didn't listen to hip hop. Like it's just like certain groups are just that gateway that you're like, okay, I'm gonna listen to this, and then from there they probably went on their way.
Exactly. So then we telling them, y'all take it. We're not singing the record the way the group. We don't even know it was Aerosmith. Yeah. We're not singing the record the way these guys made. We want to talk about us. Rick was like, nah. So we go to my basement. I put the needle on the record. We sitting there with the pen and pad. It's like, now you got to understand the anticipation. We never heard what happened after the guitars.
There's a singer?
Right. And you hear Steve, backstroke lover and how to never cover. Next minute on the phone. Oh, hell no. This is hillbilly gibberish. This is country bumpkin music. You guys trying to ruin our... I mean, me and Ron went off. We're not doing this. Right. It took us a whole week to go back to the studio to make the record. But it was Rick's job to take things to the next level. So me and Ron hide out for a whole week. Mm-hmm. We hiding out, not answering the phone or nothing like that. Because it was all the other records was done. Adidas was done. Hit It Run was done. Peter Piper was done. So we good. We're not making number 4 with the toys. We don't want to make that. So Rick is constantly giving us the 4-1 run on the group. Their name is Aerosmith. This and that. They were favored. They're not doing so good right now. Their shows suck. They drug.
They were on their
way. They were going. So Rick is giving us the 4-1-1, but Rick is giving us that butt. They're brilliant. This and that. Steve, Joe Perry. You know he's feeling that. So, make a long story short, a week goes by, and Jake calls and says, "Yo guys, y'all gotta come to the city right now." Where? What are you talking about, Jake? Rick done went to Boston and brought Steven Tyler and Joe Perry, the 2 guys from the record, here to the studio to do the song over. And y'all need to get here because Steve and Joe is in the studio busting your ass. Mm-hmm. Jay was using psychology. Because Steve and Joe came and recreated everything that they did and was singing. And so now it's me and Joe's job to come to the studio and live up to their expectations. Mm-hmm. But we cry, what is this? We yell, we cry. Jay says, calm down. Don't do the record. Don't think of the record the way you heard the guy sing it.
Yeah.
He said that's the way they did it. Do those lyrics, their song the way Run-DMC would do it.
Mm-hmm. And it worked.
Yeah.
It was that simple. Me and Joe was like, what you talking about, Jason? Mm-hmm. That's it. Like it was that easy. So we went in there, and that's what you're here today.
It worked so well because like the way Steve had his melody patterns.
Yeah, was rhythmic.
We had to learn it. Jay even said, "Yo, he's rapping." What do you mean, Jay? He's not. No, he's rapping. Backstroke lover underneath the cover. Talk to him and say, he said, "Look at that cadence right there." Oh, so we had to fit it into our brains of he's flowing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's not just singing. Of course he could sing. He had a great voice, but he's flow. Look at his flow. And that's what we went in there. But you know what's funny about that? Y'all hear what y'all hear today, right? The classic Run-DMC. Me and Run thought we had power. At the end of that session, everybody from the record label there, our publicist, Russell, Leo Cohen at the time was our road manager. Everybody in there, Bill Adler, they dancing around. So me and Run sitting around like badass controlling boy running. We looked at him and said, yo, y'all could be happy as you want, but you better never put this record out as a single. It could be on the album. Think about that. And I always tell this story to young people. Always be open to try something new and different, because not only will it change your life, it could change the world. So what they did behind our backs, right after that was recorded, the album's done. Mm-hmm. So the Raising Hell album drops right now. We went to like 1.5 million records in no time. Mm-hmm. And he was putting all these ads in Billboard and stuff like that. And then it was about, there's an ad from that year with, they put our label put an ad where, I actually was doing the peace side. Mm-hmm. But the label put 2 million sold already for that, to celebrate the stuff like that. And we had walked into, we was on a Raising Hell tour, we walk into the dressing room, and then we catch Leo going, it was a brilliant idea for us to white label the record. Remember they used to white label a record, you send it to the radio station. What they did was, when the album was finished, Peter Piper and My Adidas was the first single off of the Raising Hell album. Okay. So they sent that to all the urban stations. They also sent a white label Walk This Way to all the black stations. And behind our backs, they sent Walk This Way to all the rock stations. Uh-huh. So we was on the road, and then what happened in Boston was this. We're going to play something new from the guys Run-DMC. I'm familiar. Yeah. You're familiar with Run-DMC? Yeah, people knew this and that. Well, they did they did a song by our hometown heroes, Aerosmith, over. We're going to play it, and then we're going to open up the phones to see how you like it. So they played the Walk This Way Run-DMC version and open up the phones. It was 80-20. 80%. Yo, this is crazy. Yo, play that again. Yo, I like that better than the original version. This and that. Nice. But then it was 20% of the hardcore people that always won't take the blinders off. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is blasphemy. Yeah. We're going to chase down these Run-DMC guys and we're going to hang them. I'm talking about that. How could they defile rock and roll? This is like the dudes that don't want it, people that don't want to give it a chance. 80% was open, but it was that hardcore 20%.
They would have loved Twitter.
This would, they
would have loved Twitter.
We didn't have that right now. Yeah.
Yo, let me tell you how awesome that record was. When I was younger, Aerosmith put out a greatest hits cassette, and I was like, oh shit! I'm like, that fucking Run-DMC song is on here with them, and I remember putting it on. Uh-huh. And it wasn't Walk This Way the way I remember it. It was their version. And I was just like, wait, where the fuck is Run-DMC on this? Because it was from Toys in the Attic. Yeah, it was from Toys in the Attic.
Really?
Yeah, so I went, and it just like bugged me out because
that's funny.
Like I said, like for a young kid like me, I was listening to just nothing but rock, and some hip hop, but that's like the biggest like gateway. And on top of that, I feel anyone's idea, Rick's idea, you got like everything moving forward gave Aerosmith a second career. They came back with Permanent Vacation.
They killed right after that. They got a $40 million deal from Columbia or something like that.
Permanent Vacation and Pump.
They always after that every press conference they did. Now Steve and Joe they humble.
Yeah.
But after that, anything they had announced, they always do a press conference. It was always that journalist that would go, "Excuse me, is it true that Run-DMC brought you guys back?" Now, Steve and Joe, they would, that's it.
Yeah.
But the management and the PR, if there's any Run-DMC questions, this press conference, because they want to focus on this stuff now.
Yeah.
But Steve and Joe in their book said, we did something for them.
Yeah.
I mean,
and they did something for us too. Like without us, it'd have been much different if we'd have did the record over the way y'all hear it without them.
Yeah.
It worked because we did it with them. We could have did the record without them.
It sounded huge.
Yeah.
And the video
sampled. And the video
to this day, when I'm at band practice and I could hear another band next door.
I'm
about to do a Steven Tyler and just go through that fucking...
And the powerful thing about that is people say, when Steven Tyler knocked down that wall, that didn't just happen in a video. That really happened.
That is...
Like it broke down the separation because at the time, only white people do punk and metal and the black people... That was a literal representation of that. We broke a wall now.
And for you, growing up with 70s rock music, and even like obviously Run-DMC had a lot of like rock samples, but that must have been super cool. It's like you get
it was real cool. I mean, Travis Barker, who I have a song with on the new record, Yeah, I got a song with Travis Barker, Sebastian Bach.
Wow.
Mick Marsh from Motley Crue.
Wow.
And we're getting ready to get Tom Hamilton to play on it.
Okay.
And
player for
how I met Travis was I went to a friend's birthday party, and he just came up to me and said, "Yo, most people jumped on the bandwagon with Walk This Way, but I was there since Rockbox. When I heard Rockbox, I made my father get me some real drums. Like, Dad, you got to get me a drum set now because I want to be a rock star." But Travis Barker, Rage Against the Machine, Jonathan Davis, every time we played L.A., he was here again with his Adidas suit on. Like,
Yeah.
he performs in those Adidas suits.
Oh, absolutely.
He said he was at every time we played Dragonfly or Palladium on Sunset. Like, all of these guys was, and we would look at them like, "Yo, whatever he doing?" He said, "Yeah, but y'all in fly, like, y'all were the literal representation of the expression of what we felt." I was like, "Really?" Korn, Limp Bizkit, all of those guys, Fred Durst, all of those guys. Sum 41. This was probably 5 or 6 years ago after Derek came out of rehab and all of that stuff like that. Their first show on the continental USA was at the alternative rock awards in Cleveland that they do every year. So they asked the band, "This is your first time playing America since Derek had his problems. Who do you want? We want DMC." And I'm like, "What?" So they call me up. Yo, Sum 40. Oh, yeah, cool. What song they want to do? And I'm like, usually people want to do Walk This Way or Tricky. That's what everybody. Yeah. They said they want to do King of Rock. I'm like, what? So when I got down to Cleveland to do the sound check with Sum 41, Sum 41 looks at me and says, "Yo, we were in Toronto. We heard King of Rock. We little white kids from Canada. We heard King of Rock and said King of Rock is what made them form the band."
Yeah.
So that blew my mind because I would give them more comparison to the Beasties or whatever because they were young. They said they heard King of Rock when they were young and said that's what made them form the band. That's why they wanted to do King of Rock with me. So me and Derek went out there and did King of Rock. It's crazy.
I love just influences. I love hearing that because, like, no matter what, like from the 60s to the 70s, like every time, people, like little kids hear music and then they just form bands.
Exactly.
I have tapes of me and my twin sister when we were 12 or 11 years old. And, you're probably about 10 years older than me.
I'm 54.
I'm 45. So there's tapes, and I was trying to find them for this interview of me telling her, "All right, do the echo. I'm the king." And she would do rock, rock.
Really?
There is none higher.
Oh,
higher.
that's the dopest thing ever.
And we were little white kids from suburbia.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I wonder how it is for you now, because a lot of the stories that you're telling is stuff we can relate to because we were in bands.
Right.
You were in bands. What was distinct about hip hop back then, and Chuck D talks about this a lot, there was groups. Now it's a little bit more centered on the solo.
It's all about the front man.
And that's what you're doing now. You have to do a solo record. Right. And so I wonder, like, even the
but I'm in a band. Hold on.
You are in a band too. That's right.
Well, what it is now is when Jay passed away, I put together a band. I got a drummer, guitar player, and a bass player, and I have a DJ Charlie Chan, who was Jay's apprentice or whatever. I do all my Run-DMC catalog live.
Okay.
So which is a different interpretation. It's way different from what I did when Run and Jay were with me. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to be, I don't look at myself as a front man with what I'm doing right now.
Okay.
Like when I did the record with Chuck and Slaves on Dope, I'm part of the band. It's kind of like what Chuck said, what he does with Prophet of Rage.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
He said he said the first two options is Tom Morello and Be Real. He's in a band now with Chuck D, with Public Enemy. He said, I gotta take the lead, this and that, and stuff like that. So now for me, it's like I don't even I have two representations. I got the album that I'm doing that's DMC, which stands for Dynamic Musical Collaborations, and that's just me collaborating with other artists and musicians. But it's not just me up front. On the record that I did with Sebastian, Travis, and Mick, and we waiting for Tom Hamilton, we did "Oh Black Betty" over. "Oh Black Betty, Bama Lama, oh bless." So Sebastian is singing all the Black Betty lyrics. She looks so good, she looks so fine. I'm doing my rap. Travis is on drums and this and that. the record that I did with Slaves on Dope, Jason Rockman, lead singer, Slave on Dope, he's singing the lyrics and the choruses. Me and Chuck put our raps in it, and it's the band that's doing it. I got another song produced by Freddie Fox, a.k.a. Bumpy Knuckles. One of the best. People know him as one of the best lyricists, but he's one of the best producers ever. He produced a song with me and Dave Navarro.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm still in the band. The only difference is what I'm doing now. When I was in the Run-DMC band, I had it was more like a team. I'm the receiver, runs the quarterback, Jay's the quarterback, and Joe's the running back. So, but now what I'm doing is, it's not, even though I'm rapping, I'm not making rap songs. I'm more of song, like, it's not, the typical rap thing was 16 bars, chorus, 16 bar. Now I could come with 4 bars, shut up, the singer could sing.
Gotcha.
I could come back with the same 4 bars, you know what I'm saying?
Sounds like
so
a
that's
good
what's
gig.
different. Yeah, it's easier too.
Yeah.
It's much easier. But the fun thing about it is doing Sucker MCs live and having my guitar player play a riff when I go, I'm DMC. Boom. I have a drummer, Veronica Bellino. She plays with Life of Agony right now. Yeah. That's my girl. And she played with Jeff Beck. She also played with Richie Sambora. My guitar player, Rich, he's from LA. He was in a bunch of bands. And my bass player, Dave, was in a bunch of bands. My DJ, Charlie Chan, he's been on St. Louis radio for the past couple of years. So everybody says DMC, and that's my band. That's the band that I do. That's the band on that record. Title track, Back from the Dead, is me and my band. When you listen to that, that's what me and my band do. So it's not like I went solo like a Busta Rhymes did.
Right.
It's not like I went solo like Melly Mel did when he left Flash and them. Because it's a different interpretation. It's a different interpretation. I got Joan Jett.
Wow.
On this new project.
So
Joan Jett, Sammy Hager.
You get to work with
Tim Armstrong. Yeah, this album is so sick that we're not just going to put the album out as an album. When we was like 11 records in deep, Tim Armstrong, who did all the transplant videos, and all the Rancid, he directed all the...
I'm a huge Rancid fan.
Yeah, Rancid is amazing. So Tim said what we should do is we're going to do a live concert film a live concert performance film to go with the album. He just looked at me one day and said, yo, D, you can't just put this out and people go 5 years from now. Yo, remember that record that DMC had with Sammy Hagar and Joan Jett and everybody on it? He said, you don't want that. He said, did you ever see The Last Waltz?
Yeah.
I was like, I love The Last Waltz. The band and Dylan and a staple singer. He said, yeah, we're going to do a Last Waltz type of film, but it's a reverse. He said, this isn't your ending. This is your new beginning. Yeah. What I'm trying to say now I really get to be the king of rock. Yeah. Because prior to that, my performances was with Jay was the band.
Right.
You know, and people always say, why can't you and Run tour? And so I go like this. You want to see another guy back there while me and Run around? We can't replace our drummer. Yeah. Because it's different. We could go get Flash or Jazzy Jeff, but that's disrespectful for us in that thing. It's better for me to do what Dave Grohl did. Nirvana's over. I'm going to start the Foo Fighters. Or, you know, Dave Navarro went from Jane's Addiction to
Chili Peppers for a minute.
Chili Peppers. It's just like what's his name did. Chris Cornell went from Audio Slave to. You change it up. You know, I don't want to be trying to suck the life out of the Run-DMC thing. You know what I'm saying?
And you guys had such a great catalog. Like you don't have a bad album.
Right.
Like from beginning to end. And I was telling you, like the last record you guys put out.
There's a couple of bad songs, though. I talk about that. Couple of bad songs in my book. No, realistically, I put a book out about a year and a half ago called 10 Ways Not to Commit Suicide, which talks about mental health and depression and stuff like that. So when I bring that up, and you know, and this just came through therapy. There were certain songs that I did not want to do. And instead of speaking up and then making that known to Run and Jay, I decided to hold it in. It wasn't...
As far as production or like...
No, as far as production. Yeah. Like, instead of bringing it up, not to be a troublemaker, instead of... It's killing me not to say something. Yeah. But I don't want to be trouble. I want Jay and Run to like me. I don't want to be a trouble. So I went and drunk. I was diagnosed with suppressed emotions. when I should have said, yo, motherfuckers, there's a bullshit song. I'm not doing that shit. And people always go, okay, DMC, what song? Because they think, the records that y'all know and love, even records like Daryl and Joe that weren't singles, those are phenomenal. I'm talking about we did songs like Missy Lane, Ragtime, and if you really want to know a perfect example, Faces, Pause. And what I mean by that, Jay had us doing New Jack Swing.
Okay.
And now that I speak about it, all my friends and contemporaries and historians who wanted to say this today it happened, but I didn't want to disrespect, didn't bring it up. There's a video out for a song called Pause.
I remember that song. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It got over because our presence on it was dope. But if I look at the video to this day, I say Jay got me in a green, pink, and purple suit doing the Running Man to New Jack. Right. Go look at it now. You want me and Runner doing? No, we're dancing. Hold up, we're not. That's why I respect the Beastie Boys. The Beastie Boys, even though when they did Intergalactic and they did all that, they stayed the core of who they were.
Yeah.
That's why they were able to come to New York City and sell out the Garden twice. Mm-hmm. We fell off because instead of just being Run-DMC, we were trying to be Run-DMC. And what I mean by that, the whole thing of we did everything that we did without thinking about it, did this. It blew. Rockbox, first rap group on King of Rock, Prophetic. When we got inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they called me up, D, come here, we got to tell you something. What? In 1985, you guys did a video about y'all being denied entry into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum with Larry Bud Melman from the David Letterman show at the front door going, you guys can't come in here. This is a rock and roll museum. Now I'm the king of rock. Yeah. We scream on the net. They looked at me and said, don't
so true.
But check this out. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame didn't exist. It didn't start till 86.
Oh, get out.
Crazy. And what is going on right now in it with you guys can't come in. Gene Simmons said, why is hip hop in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? This and that. And I'm funny. I agreed with what Gene said. Gene said the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum was based on bands, musicians doing the rock and roll thing. So I asked the guys the year I was there, I said, what do you think about all of this that, Gene is saying? They looked at me and said this, look, we understand what Gene is saying. And what Gene is saying is this is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for so-called what you want to determine as rock. But if that's the case, then James Brown don't get in. So what they could have did was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum for people that do rock and roll, rock music. Mm-hmm. Then you have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Soul Annex, Funk Annex, Punk Annex. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame guy said, the thing they got is order. Because I'm in it before a lot of groups that I said should have been in it before me. But they looked at me and said this, and this is funny, but it's true. He said, look, if you play a flute, he didn't say a flute in a band, a flute with an ensemble. If you play a flute, and you sell out motherfucking Madison Square Garden, that's rock and roll. It's about the music. Now, when you get into titles and all of that stuff like that. So I remember when I agreed with Gene Simmons, I said I could understand what Gene Simmons is saying. And if that's the case, I say you can take me out of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but I'm still going to rap over Walk This Way, whether you like it or not. Yeah. So you still got to do something with it.
Gene will be fine.
Yeah,
Gene
will be okay. Gene will be okay.
But I agree with him, and people curse me, a motherfucker D. Like, it was craziness. But I agree with what he said, because I have a respect for rock. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? But
they didn't kiss him for a long time. Wasn't that
Here's the other catch to it. When Gene said what he said, some people said, "Oh, okay, we understand your point there." I'm disappointed because people don't know that The Message is the first rap song to be inducted. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 is the first rap group to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Nobody knows that. Mm-hmm. Nobody. I'll be at events.
I knew that.
I'll be at events and people say that. I gotta say, wait, hold up. I don't want to mess your introduction up. I say, excuse me, not Run-DMC, because they always go, Run-DMC is the first to be inducted. No, Grandmaster Flash and Furious. But the funny thing is, all my constituents from the rock side, they say Run-DMC gets a pass. Why? Think about it. Our major hits were all rock records. Tricky, Mary Mary is the Beatles. I mean, the Monkees.
So good.
Mary, and Walk This Way, King of Rock, and Rockbox. So they say the only thing that wasn't live about Run-DMC was the drum machine. But everything else was live bass player, Larry Smith, live guitar player, Rick Rubin, or Eddie Martinez from Quiet Riot. So that's why I got a little beef with the Grammys. Everybody said, dude, this is honor, because they gave us 4 years ago, they gave us the honorary Grammy. I was like, I don't want that shit. And they was like, why? I said, no, I respect the whole institution, but you should have gave me the motherfucking Grammy in 86. Best new group. Look, Grammys could think what they want. Michael Jackson, we met with Michael Jackson twice, because Michael, I want to record with you guys. You guys are great. Mike said, you should have took home all the Grammys. Michael Jackson said everywhere he went in the world in 86, we was there. Wow. So he said, that's enough proof. We should have got best rock collab or best pop collab.
Right.
What? So don't come and don't try to give me lifetime achievement. My shit ain't over yet. Wait till I'm 80 to give me that. But that's just a little joke about the whole rock thing.
Yeah.
86 was crazy too for music.
No, 86 was my comic book is based in the 80s like universe. It's the alternate universe because historically the 80s was one of the most creative musical. Think about this. You had Run-DMC, Blondie, Lou Reed, the Ramones, Basquiat, Keith Haring, the books, the writings, the movies, the fashion, the style, politically, like the 80s was a renaissance.
Manhattan
the whole town down, right? Yeah. And the perfect thing, if you walk into the world or you walk into Danceteria, oh shoot Madonna, oh shoot the Beasties, oh shoot Run, oh shoot Fat Freddy, oh shoot Flat, oh shoot Lou Reed. Like it was crazy in there. That time, you don't have that anymore. You know what I'm saying? And that also goes back to when Chuck was talking about with the group, with the front man. Hip hop has now become easy. Why has it become easy? Not the fact that everybody can do it. It's just that it's become monotonous. When something becomes monotonous, it becomes boring. When something becomes boring, it becomes easy to do. So now they're just going to throw everything that's being done at you. 99.9% of all the records, not just, Dirty South and the mumble rappers, all the hip-hop records is bad demos. I hate to disappoint anybody. A lot of the records that are considered hits are records that me, Rick, Run, and Russell would have threw back in the artist's face and said, go home and bring something, bring me a song.
Yeah.
The young people are not being challenged. Russell, Rick, and our first producer, Larry Smith, used to look at me and Run and say, y'all motherfuckers rap about anything. Could you make a song that 85-year-old, could you make a song that 35-year-old dude, could you make a song that African is going to like? So what that would do, I would go home and I would sit there, what the hell? So we would come up with some brilliant, fun, interesting thing. Like, my Adidas, which is the reason why these rappers can get endorsements. I hate to say that, but it's true. We didn't write a song to down people and say I got money and I could get more Adidas than you.
Right.
For my rhyme, if you listen to my rhymes always had a Dylan, Neil Young, Jim Croce, Harry Chapin vibe to it. If you listen to Run rhymes, my Adidas I wear possessed for one man is wear myself. Homeboy, I got 50 pair. If you look at Run's character, he, his bend, his shows, his mansions, his face, he's the Reverend. Look at me, I'm, you know what I'm saying, opulence. Everybody can be. My rhymes always had something to say. Okay, I got this big platform. I got these mics and these cameras on me. What could I say that's going to empower my listener? So when I wrote my rhyme, my Adidas walked through concert doors and roamed all over Coliseum floors. I wrote that rhyme because at the time in 86, remember, it was right before the crack epidemic.
Yeah.
And the political leaders, the community leaders, they had said, anybody with fresh sneakers on are the problems of our communities. Because what did the drug dealers do when they get money? They go buy fresh gear. So Run-DMC, that was a problem with it. We had big gold chains. We looked like the drug dealers. They didn't take time to listen to what was coming out of mouth. So I'm like, okay, you have it halfway right. I'm on a corner. My friends is going to jail for selling drugs. But me, Run, and Jay, we just got off stage at Live Aid. So I wanted to do a record that when the kids hear, oh shoot, there goes DMC with his Gazelles on and his Mercedes Benz and his car and stuff like that. But yo, he just said he went to St. John's University.
Yeah.
Like, you throw that, what the hell? You know, I'm never in a gang. I didn't get arrested, none of that. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to say, yeah, my sneakers went from Hollis, Queens to step-ons. I walked down the hallways of St. John's University.
Yeah.
Because hip-hop is about keeping it real. You know, and a lot with hip-hop, for me, the negativity that's going with it, for me, it's not about censorship and freedom of speech. As an artist, you can make whatever movie you want to make. Mm-hmm. You can make whatever record you want to make, whatever. My thing is, with hip-hop, it's a little different. Well, not really. With hip-hop, there's a stronger responsibility. What I mean by that is, in the early 90s, after the success of gangster rap, a lot of rappers made this excuse of, yo, they don't go after Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis for their violent gun shoot movies.
Right.
My thing is, okay, if you're going to use that excuse, motherfucker, get off the mic, get out of hip-hop, and go be an actor. Because it's different. If music or the arts could dictate what people drive, what they wear, how they walk and talk, which is what hip-hop is really doing right now.
Sure.
What happened to the responsibility of telling people how to fucking live? Mm-hmm. So going back to the frontman thing, what happens with the frontman thing is, like, you look at De La Soul, you look at EPMD, you look at Run-DMC, you look at Stetson Sonic, you look at the Beastie Boys. What's important about the representation of groups is, in life, in everything in life, you need to show diversity. Now, if Run-DMC existed in this date and time, they would just be pulling Run. Yo, leave Run and D, leave D and J.
Yeah.
Not because it's a better thing, because Run's the front man. He got the attitude of, yeah, we could sell that.
Right.
But Ice-T said something to us. He said, yo, when Run-DMC came on, Ice-T said, yo, Hollywood only wants sex and violence because that shit's in controversy.
Yeah.
But Ice-T said, yo, but your motherfuckers proved that positivity could sell too.
Right.
And that's what I mean, the lack of responsibility. As a hip-hopper, you can tell I'm in a gang. I sold drugs and I've been to jail. But your very next record should be about telling your listeners how not to go walk the way that you want. Perfect example, you just said Rockin. He didn't say, I do hold-ups in this. He said, I used to roll up. This is a hold-up, but now I learn to earn. So everybody, you know, at the time when Rockin was 19, 20, everybody 18 to 3 months old just was like, yo, Rakim said we don't have to do this. That's what's missing in our music right now. And that's why I respect rock and roll so much. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? In the last 20 years of all of these wars, our people who's been going to the Gulf, Iraq, and fighting all these wars, hip-hop is punks now. They don't talk about the shooting in Chicago. They don't talk about the shooting in Newark. When hip-hop was at a point, as soon as something happened in our community, next self-destruction, the hell for you know, even it's like that. You know, unemployment, and we know everybody shy away from the social, not even social, everybody shy away from the responsibility that we have in each other. The one thing that made hip-hop so potent in the beginning was, we was like, yo, these punk guys got balls to be singing about anarchy and fuck the queen and fuck the government. And hip hop took from that. That's why we relate. Now everybody think it's just a big party, and it's not even about the political struggle. The good thing about hip hop is this: don't push me, 'cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes me wonder. Those words from young teenagers in the Bronx were words that, when we heard the message, all of the young kids in our neighborhood started looking at our mothers and fathers differently. The emotions and the situation that we looked up and saw that, you know, the mothers and the fathers and the single parents and the 9-to-5ers were saying. And at that time, there was no music speaking for them, but the message spoke for them. I started looking at my parents differently now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I said, sure, we got it good. We're partying and riding skateboards and doing this rap thing. And our mothers and fathers is getting up every day, trying not to lose it. Right. And that was the importance of hip-hop. That's why I look at the responsibility in hip hop. Even when when I look at Neil Young, when I look at Dylan, when I look at Joni Mitchell, all the issues and the purpose for which they use the music, and that was solidified for me. Everybody always say my favorite rap group of all times, if you ask me, is Public Enemy, because of what they did with our hip hop music.
And
we're in agreement here.
Another one, like I was an acquaintance, I should say, of like Hank Shockley. And anytime I saw him, I would want to, and he was like so out of like the hip hop thing, he didn't even care.
Right.
I would see him and I would want to talk to him about like, gee, I don't know, you took Slayer and you sampled it on Channel Zero.
Guys are brilliant.
And he was so in like Queens of the Stone Age, Radiohead, like that's what he wanted. He was doing just on another level at that point, but like his production. So when you mentioned
Bomb Squad,
the Bomb Squad,
crazy,
ridiculous. Yeah, definitely. So I'll just keep going on about him.
Right.
Well, let's get to some other stuff about you. DMC also stands for Daryl Makes Comments.
Yes.
So can you tell us about your company?
Yeah, about 3 years ago, I went for a music meeting up at Atlantic Records, and I was meeting with Riggs Morales, who was Eminem's right-hand man over at Shady Records for the rise of that great empire. And I come in for the music meeting, he was like, yo, I'll probably never get this opportunity again. I never fan out, but I just got to ask you, what was it like when you was growing up? I want to know, like, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, he used these words, he said, yo, because D, man, you was like my superhero. The way you look, the way you dress, your rhymes and stuff like that. And I was like, well, I just went to Catholic school and read comic books my whole life. And when I said comic books, he was like, yo, comic books? And I was like, yeah. So we sat there for 3 hours. We didn't talk about no music. We talked about comic books. And his mind was blown. He was like, yo, I knew there was just something about you that connected me to you more than running, you know, that whole thing. And he said, yo, you should do a comic book. And I was like, nope. And you ain't going to mess my life up. I said, you're not going to have my fellow geeks and nerds mad at me. Because we're critical, you know what I'm saying? We don't want no bullshit. Your movies better be right, you know what I'm saying? Whatever. And then he said, yo, D, that's funny. But he said, yo, first of all, you're not DMC who's doing this comic book as a financial business thing. He said, your first love, you just sat here and told me before you even thought of getting on a mic, all you did was comic books, which prepared you to be so prolific on a microphone. Crash through walls, come through floors, bust through ceilings, and knock down doors. I'm the devastating. Those were all comic book adventures. So he said, the reason why you should do the book is you could do what you've been doing with your music for the last 30 years. And I was like, what? Educate, motivate, inspire, entertain people. So 3 years ago, he took me to the New York City Comic Con. And when I walked in the New York City Comic Con, I saw all the issues in comic books and TV shows and everything that I grew up on.
Yep.
Because we are products of pop culture. Mm-hmm. As I sit before you, I am the Addams Family and the Munsters and Woody Woodpecker and Looney Tunes After School and I Dream of Jeannie and Lost in Space and Star Trek and Batman comics and Charlie Brown, the Christmas specials, the claymation, all Rudolph, all of that. That's all me right now. So when I walk back in there, Riggs was like, yo, are you game? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. I think I could do this. Because, you know, I've always told stories. I'm DM, son of Byford, brother of Al. That's like if you open up a comic book and it would start with me as the king of rock. Spanner's my mother and runs my pal. It's McDaniels, not McDonald's. These rhymes are Daryl's, those burgers are Ronald's. I ran down my family. It's Christmas time in Hollis, Queens. So he said, D, you already got the storytelling thing now. But then he said, yo, if you had to name your company, you can't use Marvel, you can't use DC, you can't use Image, you can't use Milestone. And what would you call it? I was already set up without knowing. I was like, okay, I'm going to call my company DMC. Because what that mean? Daryl makes comics and he lost it.
Yeah.
So we just put it in an 80s like universe. And it's also, he asked me this too. He said, D, and I never thought about this. What would you be doing if you never made music? What the? Nobody. I made it to St. John's. I went to St. John's because I made it into St. John's. I had no idea what I was going to be. So I said I probably would have been a teacher. That's it. You're going to be a teacher, and you're teaching in the school, and then you're going to be the superhero. And that's how the whole DMC thing came about. And the whole comic book thing came about before hip-hop came over the bridge from the Bronx. all I did was read, collect, and draw comic books. So when I got into hip-hop, it wasn't me saying, yo, I'm going to be in show business. When hip-hop came, my first thing was, oh, shoot, you could tell stories about who you are over music. So in my mind, I looked at what hip-hop was doing. It was like, oh, you have an alter ego. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So Daryl McDaniels is the initials of my name. It's my name. DMC is my initials. So what I did was Marvel, DC was cool. Batman, Superman, Flash, I love that. Justice League. But Gotham and Metropolis was fictional.
Right.
Stan Lee was brilliant because he put the superheroes in New York.
It's Queens.
So me as a little kid, Spider-Man lived, like that blew my
Forest
mind.
Hills, I think.
What? And you open up the comic, you see Lower East Side, you see the Empire State Building and all of that. So now I'm not doing this for record. I'm just following the hip. This is for me in my basement. Like how I describe it is girls play with Barbie, the dudes play with the G.I. Joe. So it's all make believe and pretend. I had no idea that I wasn't pretending it's real. Marvel comic books taught me define yourself with an adjective and tell the world who you are. For instance, the Amazing Spider-Man, the Incredible Hulk, Invincible Iron Man. So now when it's time for me to get on the mic, Daryl McDaniels is not Daryl McDaniels. Daryl McDaniels becomes the devastating mic-controlling DMC. Or, to describe it even more, the whole connection is I was living in an alternate reality that was actually true. Like when the King of Rock thing, I was just playing. Yeah. I'm going to be the king over. Now when I walk the earth, people, the king. People literally say that. Right. If I see Lil Wayne be, yo, what up, king? Like, I'm like, what? I laughed to myself. I'm just playing. You know what I'm saying? So I was sitting there one day. This is the whole connection to the comic book thing that Rick said. We're going to put in the pages of the books and do all of that all over again. I was sitting there one day and I was like, okay, Thor is the son of Odin from Asgard. He has a brother named Loki and he has a hammer. So I'm Daryl. I'm from Hollis. I got a father named Bifert. So you see the similarities. The comic books set me up to have my own identity in hip hop.
Yeah.
That no, you know what I'm saying? It's like he's a former drug dealer. And this guy is an actor. Like you look at hip hop, me, I'm a superhero.
Yeah.
But it's not a joke. I'm really a superhero. So when we did the book, we said we're gonna put it in an alternate 80s like universe, like I told you earlier, because the 80s was one of the most creative times. Fashion, art, breakdancing, punk rock, Blondie, Lou Reed, all of that. All of those is in the book. The only thing that's not true of me in the book is I'm not the rapping superhero because it's corny. I'll beat you and defeat you when I meet you. No.
Be like a Saturday morning cartoon.
I'm a teacher who really has superpowers to kick the bad guy's ass. Now, in the book, when you read the books, the kids are doing rock, the kids are doing punk, the kids are doing hip-hop, and I'm amazed as a teacher that don't know nothing about. I'm amazed about the artistic, educational, creative abilities of the music and the genres that exist in my world. Mm-hmm. So 3 years ago, we set out I was naive too. I thought we're going to create this and we're going to go to Marvel and DC. Rick said, no, you hip hop, man. We're going to do this ourselves. We're starting to do what Marvel and DC has been doing for the last 100 years, which is a big venture to set out on. But and that's fantastic. Basically it. We're getting ready to create a whole world. Like our thing is, you love DC, you love Marvel, you love Disney, you love Star Wars. Get ready to love the DMC universe. That's the vision.
Yeah, that's crazy. That reminds me of just recently. Are you familiar with the band My Chemical Romance?
Yes.
So the singer Gerard Way wrote a comic book called The Umbrella Academy.
Okay.
So a while ago, and coincidentally,
that's a movie now. He got signed.
It's on Netflix.
It's a series.
February
that's
15th,
happening now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
for sure.
From the band to writing that. So hopefully one day we could see the DMC comic on the Netflix.
Yes. Yeah. We're gonna come. We're gonna do animation, Cartoon Network. We're gonna do series, live series, and we're gonna do the big movie thing too. But right now we want to be established as dope comic book maker because we love the comic books. We want the kids to read again.
Yeah.
Put the video game down, to get away from the movies. Like, because for me, Marvel does a phenomenal job. DC did. I didn't see it yet. DC's catching up with Aquaman, but Batman and Superman. Nobody hates it, but nobody loves it. You love all the Marvel movies. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So we want to establish to where this. You know what? It's got to. my comic books have to be raising hell every time you pick one up. You know what I'm saying? If there's an inkling, it's a whole lot of pressure.
Right now, it's like the golden age for like comic book movies. Are you there?
Oh, for sure. Because no, it's the stories.
Yeah.
You got very complex characters.
You there first week for everyone or not?
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
What's the best one that you've seen in the last few?
The best one that I've seen in the last few. Dad, what was the name of this? Oh man, it's not a big name comic book. The familiar one that I like reading right now. I love reading the new Iron Man.
Okay.
I'm into Iron Man big time.
Crazy what Downey Jr. did with that.
Amazing.
Right?
Amazing.
And another, just like Aerosmith having the second, wind.
Oh, for sure.
Same thing with him. He was.
Oh, my God.
Had his issues.
Yep,
He was counting it out,
exactly.
and Favreau gave him that shot.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So I want to make sure that we touch on a lot of the stuff you talk about is kids.
Yes.
And you wrote a kid's book. You wrote an autobiography as well.
Right.
And a big crux of what you talk about is your own adoption and the work you do with adoptees. So I'd love if you could just let everyone know about the work that you do.
Yeah. We started this 10 years ago. We started an organization called the Felix Organization. And that came about when I found out that I was adopted at age 35. Mm-hmm. And then that's the whole crazy story.
I saw the VH1 thing.
Yeah, everybody knew except me. You know what I'm saying? And the funny thing about Riggs was, you really are a superhero. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about, Riggs? He said, no, man, I'm not taking this far. Think about it. Most superheroes are adopted.
It's a good origin story. For a
Yeah.
superhero. Yeah,
Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, all adopted and stuff like that. You wear glasses, are educated and smart. So Riggs is losing it. Big shout out to Riggs. But when I found out that I was adopted, I didn't know anybody that was adopted. So to help me feel normal, an agent friend in Hollywood introduced me to a lady named Sheila Jaffe. Sheila Jaffe, she's a casting director for such incredible entities as The Entourage, Sopranos, Mark Wahlberg, John Travolta movies. Big Hollywood casting director lady. She's adopted too. So we got together, we met, and she said that we were fortunate. We hate the word lucky. Okay. We were fortunate to be adopted. So she was like, what about all the other kids that might not get adopted? The orphans and the foster kids who go through the foster care system who don't wind up getting adopted like me and Sheila. She said nothing should prevent them from becoming the people that they were put here to be. I was like, wow, yeah, that's stuff. So originally, what me and Sheila wanted to do was create facilities in every state in the United States that would cater to orphans and foster kids to not wait until they're teens ready to age out the system to prepare them for life. Mm-hmm. Give them life skills, give them education, give them recreation, and give them direction. So we saying we need to take the kids at 8, 9, and 10 and start, okay, you steal the cars because you like cars. Right now we're going to start you, we're going to educate you on mechanics and engineering and automobiles so that you can get a job at a place working around the very cars that you want to steal. More importantly, you can open up your own shop, and then you get one shop, you could open up a chain. So that's what we wanted to do. Our friends looked at us like we were crazy because we wanted to open a facility in every state in America. They said, great idea, guys, but you need to start smaller. So shucks, with a little reluctance, a friend of ours mentioned, why don't we do a camp, sleepaway camp? So 6 weeks out to summer, we can bring all these foster kids to this camp. What does that do? That first shows what happened to me and Sheila. Oh, wow, another adopted person. I'm not alone no more. Shows the kids that they're not alone. Shows the kids that your situation may be different from everybody else's, but you're still lovely little beautiful kids like everybody else. But while we got them there, we can say, what do you like to do? I want to be a photographer. Here's a camera. What do you like to do? I want to. Here's some tap shoes. What do you like to do? I want to be. Here's a DJ lessons. What do you like to do? Here's an acting coach. Like whatever. I want to bake. We bring a baker up. So we give these kids the experience now to prepare them in all of their madness. I'm talking about my life was good. I was a foster kid. My parents adopted me. This and that. I'm talking about sexual abuse, mental abuse, financial abuse. Some of these kids have horror stories. which is so bad. But we're saying if we start showing them now that they are okay, they're okay, maybe they'll graduate, become productive individuals, and won't have to go to jail, mental institutions, or the grave. That's where 99.9% of these kids that we don't take care of go. So we started the Felix organization. We started a place called Camp Felix to get these kids for a week. A kid, it costs $500 to send one foster kid to camp for a week. We started with 75 kids the first year. We're up to 230 maybe now.
Yeah.
With this. So, and we also started this thing called Beyond Camp, because what happens is the kids can only come to the camp up till 17 years old.
Okay.
But they want to keep coming. So what we did was, okay, at 17, you can come back next year and we'll hire you to be a counselor. So it's that. And the beautiful thing about what we're doing is this. All of these kids, we watched them go from jail, poverty, and get arrested to, yo, he graduated, got a diploma. She graduated, she's in college now. 99.9% of these kids who could go be physicists and scientists and CEOs, it's crazy what they do. They change their majors to become judges, lawyers, and social workers. And we said, well, yo, you have a chance to get a physics scholarship. Nah, I want to go back into the system and help the kids that are still there.
Wow.
So we encourage, basically what we're showing them is, my statement is this, to tell every kid, your situation doesn't define who you are. Now, that being said, some of the situations are horrible, but sometimes you got to push the Bible to the side, stop praying for the kid, and take the Sigmund Freud book, the psychology, push it to the side and sit there with the kid and just ask him this. How do you feel? Not all the kids, when me and Sheila visit these kids, they always say, y'all ask us questions we never get asked.
That simple, huh?
It's that simple. What do you want to be? In the midst of that, it's okay to cry. Sometimes, and here's the killer thing. When we go to certain facilities, you get to sever. And even in schools, when I visit schools, they always go, watch out for that one, or watch out for her. Yeah. They're wild ones. Me and Sheila, nope, that's the first one we want to speak to. We go sit there, and, the girl or boy, they sitting there, they mad.
Yeah.
And they have a right to be mad. They've been abused, sexually abused, pulled in school, this and that. Some of the social workers don't care, and the majority do care, but they always get thrown into the bad situation. So we tell them, we sit there, they never get told, motherfucker, you have a right to be fucking angry. Get the fuck, go be like, I do? Like, okay, they got to let those emotions out. And here's a killer thing. I got to tell some of the dudes, and a lot of the girls, it's okay to cry. You could be sad about, really? And they'll cry and say, don't tell nobody. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? But then we'll ask them, do you feel better? You got to let the kids, you got to let these kids, and this is good for the government to hear. Kids are put in situations they did not ask for, that they have no control over, to solve everything that is going on with all our youth, from foster care to delinquency, to not paying attention in school, to attitudes, to depression and all of that. Push everything to the side, and who better to solve the problem than the person going through the problem?
Yeah.
That's what I learned. I can do all other. Me, Daryl, I had both families in the house, so I can't relate to the kid not having a mother and father there. I had one kid say, Mr. DMC, Mr. fucking know-it-all. Like, you had your mother and father, and you found your birth mother and stuff. I'll never find my parents, this and that. He was angry. What do you got about to say about that? And I had no way to answer that. And the only thing that came to me was, your social worker, your counselor, the person in your group home that you're attached to. There's a teacher, there's a coach, there's somebody that when you're in the depth of your despair and darkness, you may not show it on your face, but there's somebody that that when you think of that person, it brings a smile to you. Do you have that person? Yeah. Well, that's the person I want you to talk to every day. And the kid started doing it. He picked out a social worker and just said, anytime that you need to talk to that person, just go, I need to tell you, I said, find somebody you could do this. I need to tell you something I've never told anybody. And when you release that, you'll feel better. The kid is doing well now. Matter of fact, it's coming to work at the camp.
Wow.
So it's just simple things as we can't solve him dealing with my father is in jail, my brother got shot, and he's on that path to get shot. How do you keep that kid from going down that path to get shot? Because he's just joining a gang and he's doing what he's doing not to deal with his problem. Shut everything up and say, how do you feel about all that?
Yeah.
And then once they say, how do you feel about that? Finally, what do you want to do? What do you mean? What do you want to do right now? I would just want to, let's go do that. You know, and the deep thing that I noticed with the Felix organization is this. A lot of people shy away from adopting. Huge responsibility.
Sure.
A lot of people shy away from foster care. Huge responsibility. The most powerful thing that you could do is once or twice a week, go pick a kid and take them somewhere. Take them to the museum, movies. Take them to the museum. Take the little ones to get an ice cream. Take them to do something other than the life that they're living so that they could see. They just need to see for themselves. Something else does exist. That could do a whole thing. And it's all a thing about mentorship. What does wonders with kids is this. You ain't even got to go see them. Just once a week, call them. I'm rooting for you.
Yeah.
And if you ever need to, I don't care what time it is, any time of night, because they think people don't care about them. Anytime you need to call me, my phone is on. A lot of kids called. Sheila and had kids live with her. We was nurturing one girl who was about to go down the wrong path. Now she got a job. She's going to nursing school. She started her own teeth whitening business. Like I said, well, I don't need no more rappers. We don't need no more rappers and gangbangers and drug dealers. You can be a teeth whitening specialist. And they do that. Yeah. One girl, we gave her a camera. In the first week that she gave her a camera, she's living in a group home. So when she would leave going to school, she would take pictures of everything. The cat by the garbage can. The construction worker working on the L at the subway.
That's
the
what Holly does.
Taking pictures. A brilliant little kid. By the end of the year, she had this big, wonderful portfolio. So now she's going to college for communications. But if we went in there, what do you want? I want a camera. Here you go. We didn't tell her that she took the camera and knew exactly what to do with it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that's what we did with the Felix organization. It's all about giving kids opportunities to overcome their obstacles. And I also work with Garden of Dreams.
Okay.
With the Knicks and the Rangers, because they deal with a lot of the kids that come through the Felix organization. So I'll be seeing parents and mothers and fathers that I know that their kids contact with the Felix.
And there's like a measurable return when someone's like, no, I want to go back and help my community.
Yeah, that's
come
big
back
time.
Year.
Yeah, exactly. I need this Felix thing. So we hire them. It's better that kid working as a counselor than me.
Yeah.
Because they know exactly what the kid, and they love each other when they get together.
Love it. All right. We could keep you all day. Yeah. But I want to be respectful of your time, so that's a nice note to end.
Yes.
And so we have one more question for you.
Yeah.
So the name of the podcast is called "If I Rule the World."
I love that. It's because of Curtis Blow's thing, or you had that before Curtis?
What?
No, did
not
have that before Curtis.
Rule the world.
D. We don't want to get
and
sued.
Nas and
so,
everything.
You know.
Yeah, actually, the intro you'll hear is you know a little Lauryn Hill on the.
Okay, I will.
Yeah. So we ask everyone.
Well, Kurt got it from somewhere, so
absolutely,
exactly.
So we ask everyone that we have on, if you ruled the world, what would that look like?
Wow, if I ruled the world, what would the world look like? Oh, there would be wars, but the wars would end immediately, and there would never be another one. Okay. It would be a Batman situation. I don't think I would do what the Punisher would do, but it would be a Batman situation where all the bad people who know exactly what they've done would, you can't just put them on an island. You wouldn't treat them bad, but all the bad people would be an example of what not to do to not mess up the beauty in our world. if I ruled the world, there would be nobody on the face of the earth who would be without a meal or a place to stay. And more importantly, if I ruled the world, you can be what it is that you want to be or proclaim to be, but I would remove all labels, because whether people know it or not, as soon as you say I'm one thing and then I'm another, it'll always be a beef. This is why beef exists. And what I mean by that is, let's talk about politics. There would be no party system, Republican and Democrat. Soon as you say you're Democrat and I'm a Republican, we got a beef because you're saying you're this and that. But even within those institutions, you got liberal and moderate and this and that. So right away, even with, like, when I look at the Christian religion, there's Methodist and Baptist and Episcopalian, and right away that's confronting stuff. I don't care what you are, Muslim, Christian, and no. The world needs to be run by people that care about people. That's the bottom line. That's what I would have. My thing, in my cabinet, I'd have a grandmother, because who's more nice and truthful than I would have I wouldn't have vice president, secretary of state. I would literally call, okay, it's Daryl. He's the leader of the world. Grandma and grandpa, best friend, uncle, Miss McGillicuddy, the teacher, people that care about people. Nobody cares about people. People care about agendas. If I rule the world, I will remove all agendas and all labels, so that everybody would eat, everybody would be educated, everybody would be taken care of. That's what I would do.
Awesome.
I'd live in that world.
Yeah. I also want to say that I love that you used Miss McGillicuddy, which is like the ultimate TV last name for like sitcoms.
You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Miss McGillicuddy.
I just want to say, so podcasting, what we do, like it's a lot of fun because we get to talk to people. Yeah, I'm a 40-year-old man, and you've been in my life for as far back as I remember. This is a trip.
Really?
Thank you so much for doing it. Yeah, like you're like, I feel like I've met a cousin that
of course.
That I haven't met.
For sure.
To watch what you've done. I mean, I told you about when I was a kid with my twin sister, to getting your book last year when it came out, finding out all these things I didn't know about you.
Are the links to this up yet for digital?
Well, we didn't go digital yet. Those were the vinyls that we put out last year on Record Store Day, and we're getting ready to go digital with that whole EP in about a month.
Okay, yeah. So we'll put all the links up when the time comes and stuff.
Definitely.
So
cool.
Awesome. Thank you for doing it.
Thank you. Peace out, everybody.
If I ruled the world, I love 'em, baby.